Hello everybody, welcome back to Central Texas. Troy's cooking again. I'm going to cook in the kitchen today. I'm going to make a homemade pizza dough, and then we're going to make a homemade pizza with that dough. It's a really simple, a dough mixture. Anybody can readily find the ingredients, so it shouldn't have any trouble. Some of the stuff that you will need, back behind me over here, I've got this nice mixer. And also I've got some measuring bowls over here, just to hold the flour and stuff, or whatever, mix up the yeast and water. Over on this end I have the main ingredients here. You're going to need some measuring cups. I've got a 1 cup, half cup, that's a 1/4 cup, and I've got a 2 1/4 teaspoon to measure out my yeast. This is my yeast. I buy it in bulk from King Arthur Flour. And it lasts in this container in the refrigerator for about 6 months, or you could get a container like this that is freezer tolerant, and it'll keep in the freezer upwards of a year. You're going to need some semolina flour. You're going to need some bread flour or just regular ordinary flour. Also going to need some water, about 1.5 cups, and I'm going to divide this. Half cup of water will be for the yeast to help it bloom, and the other 1 cup will go in with the flour. Going to need some salt. That's probably about a teaspoon or so, not a whole lot. You're going to need a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So let's see if we can get this going. Alright, let's throw the yeast together here and get it going. And you need some warm water, not hot. If it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast. Preferably around 100 to 104 degrees, I believe is what it calls for. Need a 1/2 cup. And about like baby's milk, when you're giving baby a milk. Put that into a bowl there. And I think I mentioned earlier that this was salt. This is actually sugar. I'm going to use sugar to help get the yeast active again. And it's about a teaspoon or so. Throw that in there. And 2 1/4 teaspoons of dry active yeast. We'll stir this up, kind of help it get along. Get all that sugar dissolved in the water. And this is probably going to take upwards of 5 minutes to get blooming, and you'll know that it's good to go when you start seeing it get active with some bubbling on the top. That means it's ready to go. So while that's doing that, we will see if we can get the other dry mixtures in the bowl for the mixer. All right, for my dry mixture, it's again real simple, just flour, a little bit of salt. This is 3 cups of bread flour. I need 4 total. So I just wanted to show you this 4th cup when I'm measuring it out. I'm not really packing anything down. It's almost like you're, not grating it, but sifting it. So don't pack it down. Just loosely pack it in there. It's already sifted pretty well because it is bread flour. All right, so 4 total cups of flour. And about a teaspoon of salt. And when this finishes mixing and we let it rise, it's going to make like 2 16-inch deep dish pizzas or 4 thin crust pizzas about the same size. It's 14 to 16 inch. So still waiting for the yeast to start proofing over here, and once we do that, we're going to throw it all together. Alright, I think my yeast is about ready. Let you have a look here. I don't know if you can see all that bubbling going on in there. But this stuff sure does smell good. It's a whole lot better than Fleischmann's or a Red Star, I think it is, that you can find in the normal supermarkets. And again, if you want to give this yeast a try, they sell it in a 1-pound brick, and can't remember the price on it, but it's not that awful expensive. But King Arthur Flour, I think it's KAF.com or KingArthurFlour.com. give it a shot. It's really good stuff, and they have several different versions. The bag that I get that I'm using is their it's a red and white black bag. They also have a gold one, but this is the best seller that they have if you look. So we're just dumping this in there. And again, we're going to need another cup. So that was a half cup of water with the yeast. So I'm going to use another 1 cup for 1.5 cups total. Here's my 1/4 cup of olive oil. Or if you don't have olive oil, just regular vegetable or canola oil will work. Let me get my water up to temperature here. And another thing too, some people like semolina flour mixed in because it gives a little bit more of a texture to the dough. I would maybe do 3 cups of bread flour and 1 cup of semolina or thereabouts. All right, my water is up to temp here. And again, not scalding, just about 100 to 104 degrees or so. All right, so there's all my liquids, there's all my dry stuff, and I'm keeping some bread flour handy right here because once this starts mixing and comes up to a dough ball, I may need it if it's still too sticky, but we'll check and see. And what we're going to do is just mix this for approximately 4 to 5 minutes, and I'll start off on slow, kind of let everything incorporate, and then once it incorporates, then I will jack it up another notch, and that's when I'll start like a 4-minute timer. If you let it knead too long, all of the glutens or whatever are in the dough will make the dough tougher. It won't be as crispy if you do a thin crust or chewy if you do a deep dish. Okay, so it's coming together pretty good there. Crank it up another notch, and we're going to go for 4 minutes. All right, it's been going for a couple of minutes now. I'm just going to let you know it's a nice dough ball now, and it'll just keep kneading it. If it rises up too high on this, the stump end of this thing, you can always pull it down, you know, stop the mixer, of course. Pull the dough down off the hook, turn the hook just a little bit with the motor going for a second, and then turn it back off, hook the dough hook back on in a different spot, so it's on a different spot of the ball, and then start it up again, and it'll pick right back up. So I've got a couple more minutes, probably not that long, but we'll check back when I'm done kneading this. All right, and what I just described is happening. See how this is kind of rising up on that dough hook. So I'll stop the mixer, turn it just a little bit, put that back up there and just let her go a little longer. And I'm just going to leave it running here for a second because we're almost done. Another half minute or so should do it. All right, that looks pretty good to me. See, that's what you wind up with. A really nice, and this one's not real sticky. It's actually a really good, you know, it's not sticky at all. Really good dough, so I didn't need to use any more flour. Now what I do, and which I forgot to show you, and my countertop's clean here by the way, I forgot to get me a little bit of spray grease here. I just use a little bit of spray olive oil. Kind of spray it all down in there, because I'm gonna use this same bowl to let the dough proof. And all I do with this is kind of make a ball, tuck in the bottom to make a nice tight ball like that. So there you go. Plop it down in there, and then with a clean dish towel or a saran wrap or whatever you have, just leave it sitting out at room temperature or I guess if it's wintertime, the yeast need heat to make them rise and get the dough rising. So if it is wintertime where you are and you're doing this, you may find that you need to put your container with the dough ball in it somewhere warm, on top of a dryer, near a stove or an oven, under a heat vent or near a heater. But it's mid-July here in Texas, 100 and something, 102 or so outside right now, and it's really not humid out there, probably 30–40% humidity. So that's the reason my dough ball turned out the way it did without me adding new flour to it. The humidity in the air that's in your home or wherever you're making this does have an effect on how much water to flour ratio you need. So after you do this a few times, you will get the hang of it. I don't like the dough real tacky, real sticky. Some people prefer it that way, but I like the way this turned out, and we're going to let this sit here for about an hour or so, and we'll come back and check on it shortly. All right, everybody, welcome back. This dough has risen for about an hour and a half or so now, and what we'll do is punch it down, form it into a ball once again, let it come to a second rise. Now some people do prefer the dough after they've let it rise in the fridge overnight, or even 24 hours or so, up to 48 I think. But I like it this way, and again, we're going to do it my way tonight. So we'll let this come up to a second rise, and then we'll punch it down and be ready to make our pizzas. All right, everybody, I've got my toppings assimilated here. Of course, we got the dough. We've got some mozzarella, fresh mozzarella medallions here. They're already sliced up for me. Green bell pepper, pepperoni, some smoked provolone cheese slices. This is some fresh spinach. I got my pizza sauce. It's just a generic brand. I've ground up some ground beef, browned it, I mean, not ground it, but seasoned it up. We're gonna throw that on there. And I've got some semolina flour that we're going to use to help slide the pizza onto the pizza stone. All right, there's plenty of videos out on YouTube and other websites that show you how to roll out pizza dough. I'm not going to do that for you. So I'm going to come back when the pizza dough is rolled out, and then we'll put the toppings on it, and I'll show you where we go from there. All right, I decided I am going to show you something. When you're rolling out this pizza dough, if it gets really springy, like you can't roll it out anymore, just let it sit and rest for like 5 minutes, and then come back and try rolling it out again. The glutens and stuff that are in there, they get elastic, and in fact you can see this one, well I can anyway, it's kind of shrinking back down again. But just let it rest for about 5 minutes, and then come back. It'll be a whole lot more relaxed, and you'll be able to get it out to the size that you want. All right, my pizza dough is ready for some ingredients on it. I don't have a pizza docker, so I just use a fork. And doing this will prevent the pizza dough from forming air bubbles or air pockets as it cooks. Alright, now what I'm going to do is see if I can get this thing prepped up here. Well, I know what I need to do. I need to put it on the sliding board. Be right back.